All right. Good evening to everyone, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone else that might be watching. Welcome to yet another episode of the Age of Mythology JJ series, as my good viewer Ozone has called it. And tonight's broadcast is going to be, hopefully, a doozy. I've had people messaging me for like the last week or so, just wondering when will I do the spring tournament finals? When? Can't live without them. Well, the finals are now. They got played earlier today, and now tonight I have the recorded games for you guys. So I had a little bit of music playing in case people wanted to watch live and not miss the beginning. So we will get moving, and we've got all the special effects. The studio is ready to go. And just real quick, just go over the background in just a minute or so. Well, it'll take just a minute or so. So the Spring Tournament Finals is the 1v1 Spring Tournament, Age of Mythology. We are now obviously in the finals. You might see that little notation on the bottom of the page there. That player gets a one-game advantage due to winning the group stage. Now, if you haven't been watching until now, that might not make any sense, and really it is a little bit weird, but that's the way the tournament is. So we will show you. So we had a group stage of the final four players, and this is the summary right here. The group stage obviously is done. And we had three players win their series, two of their series against the other three, and that was Player, Shelty, and Joe. Player got first place because he won the most individual games. The one series that he lost against Shelty, right here, he won two games but still lost in that best of five. The other players in the series that they lost, being Shelty and Joe, only won one game. So player with the 8 individual match wins was first place. And the rules were that the first place person in the semifinal group stage, they got a one game advantage in the actual finals. So that's why player has a one game advantage. So that the finals tonight is a best of 7. So depending on who wins these games, we could have as few as 3 or as many as 6. So we will see what happens. So I'm just going to get into this. It's already almost 10:30 on a Sunday night. And why am I up? Well, because I work night shift, I am not working tonight. So we are just going to get into the games. I've got them, I think, loaded up, ready to go, and I am looking for spring tournament right here, finals, and I have 6 games listed here. Won't necessarily be 6 games. My provider of the games always kind of sends extras if there are, so there might only be 3 or there might be 6. So let us begin into game 1. Actually, real quick, what gods are we going to be seeing? We're probably going to be seeing player as Zeus. He played Zeus all through the tournament so far. And we'll probably see Joe as Set. Joe primarily played Set. The only time he played Isis was against Moors, Aranos. And we will get started into game 1, so we aren't here until like 3 a.m. So the finals, Joe versus player, game 1, I'm expecting a Zeus versus Set. Here we go, and I'm right, Zeus versus Set on Savannah. This is a nice map, a nice first game, Savannah. Alrighty, so on our bottom is Joe. He is our Set player. And on our top is player, and he is Zeus. He's looking for some hunt, and he found some way out front here. Ooh. He is going all the way down to this hunt to start off with. What little he knows, I saw it. He's got these 3 guys just out of his line of sight. So he could have gone here first. Instead, he is opting to go way down to the middle of the map to get his very forward gazelle. It's a bit risky. To get all the way down here, you might end up having some idle town center time, actually. Depends how fast these first few vills are able to gather, so we will see. But I'm thinking, okay, no, he's actually got enough. He's got enough for so we won't see any idle vill time actually, which is good, or idle town center time. So he's going to wood, and then he'll be going to gold next with probably the next couple. I assume, yes, he is getting hunting dogs, and our set player, I'm sure, already has hunting dogs. So as we saw in the semifinals when Joe played player, we actually got four ice matches. We got 2 ghost lakes and then 2 frozen wastes, and player defeated Joe 3-1 in a semifinal group stage, and really the games that player won were kind of easy wins. So going into this, players definitely got the advantage. You'd think that Joe is the underdog here, even though Joe won the last tournament. He won the 1v1 winter tournament, and I think player got knocked out in the round of 8. But player's been playing really well lately, so especially in this tournament. So I would think he will have the advantage here. The one thing player has not found, though, is he was trying to find Joe's priest to bolt it so that the priest cannot convert animals, but Joe's priest has been kind of sneaky so far, and player has not found it. It doesn't look like he'll find it anytime soon. So Joe has already got 1 lion and getting another, and we'll probably end up getting maybe these 2 zebra as well, or maybe go to those first. Caravans are cheaper and move faster. That's a nice relic. Our other relic is temple improvements, cheaper, not really too great. Lion down here being a little frisky. And player should know that he has zebra because he scouted Joe's zebra, and these maps in Age of Mythology are always kind of roughly mirrored in a way where one player has certain hunt, the other player will have that as well. So player should know that he has starting hunt, but he hasn't actually scouted it yet. And it's kind of a mistake by him because now he's going to berries, even though he has 3 faster gathering zebra just out of sight here. He should have done a little bit of goat scouting maybe. Okay, so Joe is getting that relic, and we have the other lion is like running up, maybe coming to fight, maybe not. Joe will probably try to advance pretty quickly, maybe like a 4:30, but with all this walking time, he might not, probably won't be able to get that actually. Because he'll want to advance pretty quick, and maybe with the shifting sands be able to push player back. But it actually is good that player is getting his forward hunt first, because if he were to wait until later, he wouldn't get all of this because Joe would be advancing too fast. It would push him off, and oh, look at all these sheep, or goats technically, that Joe might be able to steal. One thing I've noticed when it comes to Savannah hunt amounts, this is a very, very sparsely populated savanna. There are the 2 rhinos here, but you can get a spawn of 3 elephants, and the 2 rhinos are the big spawn in this game, and it's not a big spawn, and like your gazelle could either be gazelle or giraffe, and giraffe have twice the hunt of the gazelle, but they are no giraffe, they are just gazelle, so kind of a lower hunt spawn than normal, which is probably more beneficial for the Zeus than the set. And we do see player going up with Hermes, so might be trying maybe some centaur push. And we have Joe has used vision. He's doing that ahead of time, I think, to scare player off. Because Joe isn't advancing anytime soon. He won't be up until 5 minutes. And so he's used that to push player off of his hunt. That's a nice little trick. So player sees the vision used and thinks that shifting sands is coming, but it's not even close. So player is off of his lion and his gazelle, which is just a little bit left. And who needs hunt if you have goats? The problem is player does not have, well, actually he did 5, 6, 7 goats. So pretty decent amount of goats, though Joe did end up stealing these 5 that are running along the edge of the map here very sneakily. And Mr. Versen Jatorix, it is going good. You just tuned in at the beginning, the spring tournament finals. This is game one. Even though player does have a one-game advantage, that is due to him winning the group stage semifinals. So he gets a one-game advantage. So player, what's he doing? Is player getting a town center? It looks like he might try. He definitely isn't going centaurs because he has not the favor. So there's kind of he's kind of stuck in a little bit of a no man's land right now where he's not doing really anything except just gathering resources. I think maybe he's a little bit scared to grab a town center without knowing what Joe is doing. And now, yeah, as soon as he sees this town center getting grabbed, he is going down to get his town center. And he's trying to whistle away or whisk away these whisk away these goats, but it's not working. It is a best of 7. So we could have 6 games or just 3. And Joe gets these goats back. The goats are actually very important. Each right now at about 150 food. And if you can steal all those away, that's quite the rotation of food, but not quite getting them. Here comes the centaur down, just doing some annoyance. And he's got his 2 heroes down as well. The one bad thing about this town center, well, it actually does protect these rhinos. Did Joe scout or player scout the rhinos? He did, so he will be able to bounce back at we'll see if he's brave enough to get that. Joe does have to watch out that he doesn't lose a few units here needlessly. A little bit of a wall. This is a really nice town center. Protects a gold mine here. Okay, yeah, Joe is probably just going to go straight heroic based on the map that he has. It's going to be tough for player to put any pressure on this. You got this gold mine nestled in the bottom of the map. He's got a little bit of a wall here to kind of block off access. He's got, his free animals just to be annoying. And the player won't really find much else that he can really get at. So we're probably going to kind of see a little bit of a dull early game where player will be making Hippocon, but there's not much he's really going to be able to do with them. And Joe is looking like he's moving off of his gold and getting more of his hunt. So he doesn't even have enough gold right now, though, to advance, which I'm kind of sorry. He's only at 330 gold. He's going to have at least a few vills on his gold to get up. And with him making all these walls as well, he's going to have even fewer gold, 286 now, and he's even walling this off as well, finishing off the wall. I wonder if players scouted that goal. Okay, so he does know this mine exists, which is good. He could actually fit Odysseus down here just to be annoying once Joe actually gets to that gold mine. But what are we doing for eco upgrades? Just has husbandry and hunting dogs. Player just husbandry and hunting dogs as well. Yo, what's up, Blossom? You tuned in right in time. Game 1 of our Game 7. Ooh, he's moving off. Is he getting a 3rd town center? He is. So player going with a 3 town center before he's really making much of an army at all. Joe will probably stay at just 2 and try to push with a really heavy age 3, which I think he could. This town center, not necessarily forward, but this would be a good place for Joe to launch his first attack. Joe could really build his initial Migdol really right here, and then just start pushing through here. But he'll want the key would be the siege workshop and getting siege. But Joe should probably be advancing soon. And yeah, see, he's a little bit too late to move to his gold. He's ready to advance with food, but he was too late to start mining gold. And you see he forced drop there to try to get enough. The player is Zeus. This is Joe down at the bottom. I might have misnamed one of them, but okay, so now Joe is advanced. He's actually a little bit slower than what he wants to be. He could probably have been about 20-30 seconds faster with just a little bit more efficient villager change here. You got Odysseus shooting down the mining camp, one arrow at a time. And player at 3 town centers. He does have ceasefire, so if Joe's aggression gets too heavy for player can just use ceasefire and buy a little bit of time. Joe probably could have advanced just a little bit faster, but player needs to watch out. He's just taking a damage for no reason. Like, there's almost, man, with this map, there's just like no place player can really push at this point. Like, all he can really do is try to block Joe from taking a town center. Odysseus getting some shots on the... Oh, one more shot would have done it. But he didn't quite get it off. One more shot would have killed the Owaja. And yeah, he's still taking a little bit of town center fire here. So Joe is up Nephthys. He is building a barracks. Very defensive Migdal there, though. Joe's gonna have a very delayed attack, which means player might have the time that he needs to get his 3 town center boom, because the 3 town center boom Zeus against a 2 town center Egyptian, the weakness is the 130 push by Joe. 130. What I mean is that once he hits full pop, 130, he's going to want to try to push and attack and destroy the town center. So we're looking at maybe a 1330 attack. But the problem is Joe does not have a siege workshop, so we probably actually won't see that 13 to 14 minute push because he has no siege, and without a siege he can't kill the town center. I would have liked to seen him maybe put that siege workshop down first, but he's not, because Joe, or player, with these defensive walls, all he wants to do is just boom for as long as he can before having to do any sort of military defense, and he's going to be able to do that without that siege workshop. And like, Joe is already, well, he's actually popped himself, and okay, Joe is actually going up to the town center. Who do I think is going to win? I think player will. Obviously we already have player with a 1-game advantage, but when they played each other in the semifinals, player won 3-1 over Joe in the group stage, and the games that player won, he won pretty handily. Like, they weren't, the ones he won, like, it was kind of a dominating win. He did lose that 1 game, sure, but it wasn't like the games that Joe lost were like close, where like he almost won. They were kind of player dominated. I don't know if this 3 town center is the right thing for Joe to do here. I feel like he should have been a little more aggressive, and player tried to get this gold mine, or not this gold mine saved with the wall there, and he gotta watch out for his Scorpion Man. He doesn't want to lose the Scorpion Man, which looks like he's running it away. So this is actually a nice fight for player here, though. I don't know why Joe is fighting this, and and he loses the Sphinx, or the Scorpion Man. So player with just a bad engage there by Joe, where his chariots were up here, and player took advantage of that to attack. Forced out the shifting stance from Joe, and Joe lost his Scorpion Man, which is huge. The Scorpion Man does a lot of damage against the Hippocon. And Gamert with the follow. Talk about strange, unpronounceable names. There's one. So player being on the 3 town centers for so long, he'll have a little bit more of a villager lead. Player at 133, 145. He's actually aging up shortly. That's what he's looking for here, is to age up his eco upgrades. Just got the first line of everything, and Joe's got the first line plus the second upgrade for mining. And Joe has an early upgrade for his chariots. He just can't really push, though. He has no siege. And here comes the first siege workshop, but I feel like the siege workshop should have been earlier and forward so that he could start pushing sooner and applying some pressure. And instead, we're probably going to kind of delay until Maybe Mythic will be our first big attack. And I'd say late game, the Zeus has the advantage over the Set because Set does not get Osiris. So now, player with the walls is just preventing Joe from attacking. But he gets one siege workshop, one siege camp anyway, way down here, and just one siege tower. Like, this isn't enough to kill a town center. And Joe just coming in to do a little bit, or a player coming in to do a little bit of a raid here, just to annoy villagers. I think he's wanting to force Joe back, which he's sending the few 6 spears back. But that's not enough to defend this. So it kind of puts Joe into a decision. Does he stay forward and fight and have all this idle, or does he come back? And so far he's choosing to stay forward. He just, though, really does not have enough siege to make this push work. So yeah, this is kind of a bad choice from Joe to stay forward with all of his units because they're not doing anything. And now he's running back after these Hippicon have been running around and picking off units one at a time, and now these chariots are coming back. And in the meantime, Joe is forced, or players forced quite a bit of idle time, and now he will, I assume, retreat. And just this one attack here has given player a ton of time. He's probably just going to go straight up to Mythic. Joe, yeah, player almost up Mythic, at least the resources. Joe is aging up as well. Player needs to get his town center upgrades because Tornado can't insta-kill an unupgraded town center. He needs to get fortified town centers and then masons, which he's not. Okay, now he is getting fortified town center, but Joe is already aging up Horus now. And we'll use Tornado. Though player can just use ceasefire if he needs to get the town center back. Do we have 2 Manticore? Nice little splash damage here. The priests are not shooting at the Manticore, though. That's a bit of a mistake. Alright, now they are. Okay, so we'll probably see a ceasefire. Though player will probably try to get the town center first without having to use ceasefire, which right now Joe only has this one siege camp, so player will be able to get this town center without having to use ceasefire. And we see the Hippicon are cleaning up the chariots in the back end. And now we have the Avenger coming in, and Odysseus still at full health, so we'll probably be able to deal with the Avenger. Just has to pay attention. And yeah, player's going to be able to get that town center without having to use ceasefire, which that's big. And player, as soon as he gets to Mythic, he is going to be quite an advantage. He's, I'm assuming, going up with Phaistos. And he'll be able to use Plenty Vault for an instant. Plenty Vault gives immediate resources. He's also already got a trade going, although we can't forget Joe does have that trade relic that makes it faster. But Joe just doesn't have enough siege, so he can't push through. And Hippicon versus medium spearmen do really well. And we've got medium Hippicon, and we have an Ancestors being used, but Manticore actually does quite a bit of work against minions, and so does the Odysseus. Joe trying to build forward here, and now we have a ceasefire. Probably preventing mainly that siege camp, but I feel like the ceasefire was probably a little bit early. Oh, the cheeky wall, the wall off the units there. What's up, Mr. Ultra Noob? And I'd like to see maybe get the wall upgrade. That would be pretty awesome. Techs, players got almost all of his eco techs. Joe is missing a couple wood and then the gold mine. The one thing though is that we will start seeing player getting all of his armory upgrades. He gets the Forge of Olympus, which makes armory upgrades like almost 50%. Actually, I think they are more than 50% cheaper. And then you see the three blacksmiths just pumping out all of the armory upgrades. And while Joe has no armory upgrades, well, that isn't that what NB is short for? Ultra Noob. And we've got player just get two armory upgrades for now, but he's getting 2 more, and we'll be getting more. And Joe is kind of out of position here with his army. That wall, he wasn't able to retreat, and this is a huge win for player here. Just cleaning up, just the spearmen aren't upgraded far enough. And we still have Underworld, where Joe or player will be able to do an Underworld somewhere to just completely flip the attack. And as soon as he probably fights this off, we'll probably see an Underworld getting used probably down here. Typically you'd want to take out the trade town center, so probably see it down here. But player has to completely fight this all off. You'll probably wall this back up, maybe push down here to defend, and then use his Underworld pretty quick. So we're probably going to see the Underworld coming up soon. He doesn't really have a good line of sight spot for it, so he's going to fight now. Ultra NB for Naughty Boy. So Ultra Naughty Boy. Wow. I think player should just use his scout, come down here, because actually player as Zeus gets the early mythic advantage, but Joe with the trade relic, he's got the relic, that makes them an additional 0.6 speed, and they're cheaper. Late game, I mean, you talk about the dream relic for Egyptian, that is that relic. And that's something that player will have to try to end the game before it gets to that point. I think player may be waiting to get his armory upgrades before he uses Underworld. And we can see he's already got the 3rd line of Pierce, and then that's 2, and he's getting almost all of his military techs, whereas Joe only has just the Pierce armor, which, like, in this situation where most of his units are dying to the Hippocon, the Pierce armor is kind of the most useless military tech to get right now, because all the damage is being done by these Hippocon. And you have, this is where Ultra Noob, this is where the Colossus set really has no answer to the Colossus. Does not get Osiris for the mummy or for Osiris, who kind of murders. So here, myth unit. So here comes the scout. Is he gonna go here? Interesting. But he's gonna kill the town center, and Joe really has no place he can go. He's way up here, but he's not going to be able to defend this in time. We've got the 2 Helipolis on the back end, and we've got now his spearmen coming up. He's got to run through and try to kill these Helipolis. The spearmen should have kept coming to get on the Helipolis. Spears do have an attack damage bonus against siege, but Joe's not going to, he just has no response for this. Like, once the town center is down, the mercenaries will no longer be able to be produced, and the Colossus can just tank so much damage and kill buildings at the same time. And you also got we got this Merm here, he's kind of confused. This actual choke point right here, choke point, it's pretty good for Joe, but the choke is almost gone, and there's the choke point is now gone, and now you got all these units running through. And really the difference here is all of the military upgrades for player and just the Pierce. So we look at the units, and the Hippocon, 45% Pierce armor, and the Myrmidons, where are they? Well, there's only one. He's got 41% and 59. Like, these guys live forever with 16 attack, and Chariot's just 11, and their armor is just way down. So, like, the early mythic is just such a Zeus strong point, and I just don't see at this point how Joe's going to be able to come back. To me, his way of winning this game is as soon as he sees player going to 3 town centers, he needs to go early pressure hard in the heroic age. Force out that ceasefire early and then try to continue to push through that. But matching 3 town center for 3 town center just I don't think works in this matchup. And now we have player getting the 4th town center, and once that town center goes down, there's really just probably not much that Joe can do to respond. Joe has tons of gold, 2,300 gold. You can see he can just flood out mercenaries nonstop from his town center. But just with the mercenary nerf, just not quite as valuable as they used to be. Training slower. Still good, obviously, but the 2,300 gold just can't be used quite so much. And got these Helipolis living forever. This Colossus just standing around. This one just eating trees and living forever. And now player does have that fourth town center up. He's going to try to finish off that market, and that will be the end of Joe's trade route. And with the end of Joe's trade route and down 4-2, that is it. That is GG. So player dominating fashion has won what we'll call game 2, even though it's the first game of the night. And player with a pretty solid win. The 3 town center boom up against a set kind of delayed 3 town center boom. Really, Joe might as well just grabbed his 3rd town center right away. Yeah, I'll go next game. And Joe just falls behind a little bit early there. Gets behind in eco upgrades. Gets behind in resources. And that is Zeus set the whole series? I would think so. But, I mean, Joe does have a pretty solid ISIS. So, I don't know if, like, Joe's set did not match up well against player in the semis. And yes, player has been Zeus every game. So, I don't know if Joe maybe loses next game. He'd probably switch to probably ISIS, I would think. But that's Savannah. So we have player winning on Savannah, has a 2-0 series lead in this series, and now so Joe has switched to ISIS, and we are on one of our semifinals maps. They played together on Frozen Waste, Zeus versus Set on Frozen Waste twice on the semifinals, and each time player won. And now this time, Joe has switched to ISIS. No spoils, man. This is a spoil-free chat. We have people who watch these later on YouTube that like to watch without the spoils. So we will not spoil as best as possible. So on our right, anyway, is Joe. He has switched from Set to ISIS after getting beat down over and over. Set versus Zeus against player. He is now switched to ISIS. And player on our left, still Zeus. And there was some comments. Yes, player is pretty much a Zeus-only player. Man, it's so annoying that his name is player. I wish he would have like a different name. Like, and actually, when you talk about it, you talk about like cool names. Neither of which these players have. Joe and player. That's just so boring. Like, why can't they have something awesome as their names? Like, just player and Joe. Like, there's nothing. Like, you know, when you think about, like, WWE and just the announcements that they can make coming in, and they always have these nicknames and all that awesome stuff. And they couldn't do anything with player and Joe. There'd be no way to hype it up. Chrono is pretty boring too. I would agree with that. But I'm not trying to be cool. It actually doesn't sound like homo at all because it's an N. It doesn't rhyme. But anyway, Frozen Waste. So for those of you maybe not familiar with The average Joe versus player. So far, I do like that. So far in this series, it kind of has been an average Joe, where Joe has got thwacked in the semifinals by a player, and now so far in the first game, player really dominated Joe. But Frozen Waste, let me get back on track. If you're not familiar with Frozen Waste, it's a newer map that is on Voobly. It's been around for a couple years now, and when you look at the map on the bottom right, it's basically Midgard but frozen. And on the outside, the ice, you could think of it this way: instead of fish, it's goats. So there are goats scattered around the ice on the outside, and then there still are some walrus, but they have kind of migrated inland because the water no longer exists. So unlike Midgard when they're on the shore, this time they're in the middle. And then you also have some elk. Not caribou, elk. Yep, elk. And the gold mines. This is also huge. The gold mines are on the edge of the ice. So this is what makes this map really unique, is that the gold mine's on the edge. So it kind of becomes, especially in team games, not so much 1v1, but to a certain extent, just kind of a clown fiesta every game over raids on the gold mines that you can't really defend. This map hasn't been around too long, 3-4 years, maybe 2 years, probably 2 years. But we still get quite a few, extended edition players don't have this, and people who grew up watching the game originally never had this map either. So, what are we going to look at for those strategy here? When I see this map, Isis versus Zeus, I say this is an Isis favored matchup. The Isis can do a pretty strong one town center fast heroic with this map. With it being the land being so small, pits players closer together. And Isis's one town center fast heroic is all about the quick aggression. And with the map being so small, the Isis can do a quick aggression push. And if player gets a second town center, which I doubt he will unless Joe gets a town center, that can be really punished. And even if a player just stays one town center against a one town center fast heroic, that's tough on this map. Though we do have 2 gold mines in the base. This is a 50% chance for the map spawn, where you can have just 1 gold mine or 2. And when have I ever seen player not get a second gold mine? He is all about that second gold mine. Really what Joe should do here, whatever Vil that gets attacked, he should just put it on stand ground stance and then just heal it up. And then all this, I don't know why he's trying to kill the hero back and forth, but it's such a little. Uh-oh, Vil's almost dead. She needs to go back to the kitchen and heal up. See, I don't think this Joe really shouldn't be getting pushed off a hunt by just a hero. I don't think that's good. Joe does have his base gold mine, or base hunt though. But getting pushed off a hunt like that so quick, it's going to really delay Joe's advance, because these caribou, these are the caribou. These caribou aren't enough food to age up. He's going to have to do slow goats and slow berries. He does have Harmonious Necklace, allows him to gather gold faster. That's pretty awesome. I don't know why Joe would advance this slowly. He's a 6-minute advance. That's a little bit slow. He should probably just go for a standard 5-minute. So player is getting his second town center, which with the pushing Joe off of hunt so quickly, I'd say is a safe thing to do, because he now knows that Joe's advance to heroic isn't probably going to be until 9 minutes. And that's really, really slow. By that time, player with the 2 town centers will have a pretty good army of Hippocon. But the 6 minutes, is too slow because it gets him pushed off of Hunt. And he really doesn't have. I guess he still will be up decent. Maybe it won't be so bad. I guess he's getting more food than I thought. But I feel like he should advance a little bit faster than that, so he can stay on his hunt. Because he gets all pushed off of his hunt at 4 minutes, and he gets pushed off by. If he advances at 5, he can stay there and just run his one vill back that gets shot. And instead he has to run all the way back early on, and now he's going to have a pretty slow advance. Probably not until 8 to 8:30, when he should be up at like 7:30. But I'm just watching. I'm not the player. There are several reasons why I'm not in the finals. Meanwhile, on this side, player is just doing what player normally does, getting his 2 town centers, just pushing off of Hunt. And just a reminder, for those, I got a few people I think in chat that aren't normally watching, please try to refrain from any spoilers. He does have pickaxe, so he is getting, with Harmonia's necklace and pickaxe, this will be quite the prosperity. Though he's kind of cramming kind of more bills than can really fit. Like some of these will be kind of almost useless at this point. She's getting all confused and has to walk all the way over here, looking for the mall probably. But with Harmonia's necklace, that is another really good relic. Joe got a great relic the first game, but couldn't take advantage of it. Hey, Joe will use Ancestor's Eclipse. Player does have a ton of goats. I'm kind of surprised that player is farming before he's eating his goats. I know he's probably trying to wait till they fatten up, but I feel like with your husbandry, which is so much faster than farming or even berries, he should be on his goats now rather than farming and berries, because he's got so many. Might as well be on his goats, because it's probably kind of slowing down his eco production. And up at 8:13, Joe going forward. Ceasefire, very preemptive. I don't know if Joe would. I don't know. So Joe, player used ceasefire there in anticipation of probably Ancestor's Eclipse on the base, and also in anticipation of Joe trying to build a Migdol, because ceasefire you can't build during ceasefire. But I don't know if the use of cease like that is worth it. But the jury is out. It's a deadlock. I'm not sure. There's benefits to it, but there's also benefits to saving it to delay the aggression later on. Because actually, Joe should probably have just made a siege camp during this time and built a few siege towers. And now he is building his siege workshop. But does not have a Migdol, but it doesn't really matter because player doesn't really have the army to push. We've got three Scorpion men here. This Ancestor's Eclipse. Ancestors and 4 myth units, and he might even have a 5th by the time he pushes. What? 8 favor? Probably not. But like so far, Joe hasn't really, or player hasn't really done much for aggression, and he needs to be careful, just losing units possibly there. Player at not a ton of eco. Again, I don't know. I think all the farms early are a mistake. Like if he's not on farms, he could have all of these villas, not even chopping wood, but be on the goats. And these goats, I mean, he's got so much food in goats that gather so much faster than even plow upgraded farms. But the 2 gold mine in the base is pretty good for the Isis because he doesn't have to go out and mine for a very long time. And for some reason, player is mining. Even though he still has pretty much he's got 1,500, he's still got 4,300 gold in his base, and he's mining this gold mine, which the Scorpion men are about to find, and we'll kill. this Vil, maybe. Oh, player probably should have just kept them in there because with the how fat the Scorpion Men were, they couldn't have actually reached to that. But he will kill 2 and probably these 2 villagers as well. Well, maybe at least this one for sure. If he notices, which Joe is good enough, he should notice. Yes. Alright, so we've got 1 siege tower. Would have liked to have seen this siege workshop out a little bit faster so that he could have more. But yeah, this Ancestor's Eclipse push is going to be very strong. And player, I think, is aging. No, he just doesn't have much of an eco. Player goes to Ronald's last game. That would be crazy. I feel like player could be a lot faster than what he could be if he wouldn't have been farming for so long. Like he's just farming and he still has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 unused goats. That's 2,400 almost food. But he's busy slowly farming. Like farms are so much slower than upgraded than husbandry goats, which is really slowing player down. Like he really has no. As soon as this Ancestor's Eclipse comes, player is going to have no. There's no way player is going to be defendless. I mean, you've got 4 Scorpion Men that will be eclipsed, and there's nothing. No way player is going to be able to defend this. With the 3 siege towers, you got. Yeah, 4 Scorpion Men at 12 minutes. That is rough. He's got 1 up here just mowing down Vils. How much? Should say, yeah, 2 shots for a Vil. That's just crazy. Like, I think player should have saved his ceasefire for now. I mean, obviously he can't when there's Eclipse, but rather than use it preemptively right away, should have like done it as soon as he sees the army coming forward, then cease. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like as good as player did at the very beginning, pushing Joe back, I don't know if there really would have been much he could have done to change this. He's still got 3 Scorpion Men that are almost full health. Odysseus is dead. Jason is dead. Odysseus hiding like a coward in the town center. And now you might ask, what will player do after this? I just don't know, because player's army is completely dead. Like, when you're doing the all-in defense of the town center, if you lose your town center, you're done. If you were able to defend it in a decent spot, but man, that was just the Ancestor's Eclipse 4 Scorpion Man push. And he still got at the end of the game 7 unkilled goats. Just farms are just so much slower. But hey, at least we know this is not going to be a sweep. So Joe switches to Isis, which is his natural god, and gets an a very easy win. What are the gather rates? So I can look real quick. The gather rates though won't be true because farming has walking. So gather rates will actually be slower than what we show here. So we'll look at, for this, we'll look at Greek. So farming is 0.69, herding is 0.73, but you also have walking time for farming, which puts it, it's probably going to be below 0.6. You do have plow and husbandry that help out towards that, but husbandry also gives 10% to herd. So by the time you get husbandry, you're looking at an over 0.8, and with plow, you're probably looking at a point, and husbandry probably looking at a mid points, probably about 0.7. So it's going to be, you know, I don't know. When you get in the, we can do math later, but it's slower than the 0.04 difference because of walking time. Because villagers walk 4 times for each farm drop off. They will walk from the town center to wherever they're going to start farming. They will then move twice while gathering to their full gather capacity, and then they will move a 4th time back to the town center. which is why husbandry is so strong, because it, I think, doubles their food capacity, but they still move the same amount of time. So in the 4 times they move, they're now gathering 30, as opposed to without husbandry, the 4 times they move, they're only gathering 15. So husbandry does a lot for farming. Anyway, post game, that's just a little bit of random knowledge. But yeah, that is, villas always move 4 times. Town center to location in the farm. They will move once, move twice in the farm, and then they will move back to drop it off. What happens when you move it off and put it back? Like it has 10 food. I don't know. I'm not sure if he will reset and do the 2 movements, or if he will act as if, it's a continuation of where he was at before. I don't know if the game has memory like that. Oh, he could try it, but we will go into our game 3. Isis Zeus again on Alfheim. Alright, so we are getting quite a hodgepodge of land maps so far. And on our top is the Deities of Death clan hero, Joe. He is blue, he is Isis again. And on our bottom right is F2's clan's hero, so to speak. Player, Zeus again, what a surprise. And of course we have Joe as Isis. That is not really a surprise, so he gets that really easy win on Frozen Waste. Why would you go back to set? No. I think we might see Joe staying as Isis the rest of the series. Alfheim is a bit of an interesting map in that the hunt can vary quite a bit, although typically it tends to be towards the low end of the scale, and we are definitely at the low end of the hunt scale for sure. Very low. You can have a double or even a triple auroch spawn in the place of one of these elk, and instead of 3 aurochs, which is 1,200 food, we get 3 elk, which is only 450, and that can be a double spawn as well. So theoretically it could be 2,400 food of aurochs, or in this case 900 food of elk or caribou or whatever these things are. And even at this, in the base hunt, there's a 10% chance, which matches the original, of having 6 starting, or 5, maybe 5 or 6 starting hunt packs. Only 10% chance. It's kind of weird. I don't know why it was built like that in the original map, but I don't know. That's weird, but it stayed this way. And only 4 deer as well. This is a very low hunt, which to me is very beneficial for Isis. Player would have a very hard time doing a 2 town center boom. And if he stays 1 town center against Isis 1 town center, he'll have a hard time keeping up. And we see players now moving forward to hunt. I mean, this is just such a long way to walk for 450 hunting food, and he does have this in the middle as well, but so it's also a very long way to walk just for 600 food, although we do have the 2 wolves that would come and be able to come down. WRPD, yeah, don't be rude, wife beater. So I see this just on the onset as being an advantageous map for the Isis. In fact, let's look at the relics as well. Walls and gates cheaper. Yeah, it's okay. Villagers farm faster. That's a pretty solid relic. Villagers are cheaper. That's okay. I think people like to give it a little more strength than what it really does. Mithril Horseshoes improves cavalry speed. That's pretty nice as well. This is probably the best of all of them here. But your player's going to have, I feel like, kind of a tough time this game. The low hunt doesn't really bother the Isis too much, because the Isis will still be able to get to, miss shooting the deer further away from the granary. But the Isis really doesn't need a whole lot of food to advance to heroic, and this is definitely enough. I think Joe is force dropping because he had some idle fill time. And one thing we do see here, which is a mistake lesser players make, is that they will cram all of their villagers at one spot. So You might watch some noob games and see like they will send like 10 vills here, which isn't worth it because you have 10 vills walking here for 600 food, and then once the food's done, the 10 vills got to walk somewhere, and that is a ton of walking time. And that's why we have these players splitting up their villagers, where, for example, here, 4 vills here, 5 here. Same thing for Joe. He has 5 over here, and then he has 6 over there. It's pretty natural to split it up because it's just wasted time. You send all your vills here, and then they got to mosey back over to another spot. So for those of you watching who may be a lesser player, or for me casting, I am a lesser player. Although I kind of understand how the game works for the most part. Keep that in mind. Walking time is everything. The games can be won or lost in the archaic age based on how you manage your vills and where you send them. But as far as strategy, we will see the general Isis fast heroic, I would think. Player, if he tries to town center, he's a very bold man because there just is not probably enough food really to warrant that. Although, I mean, Alfheim does have the additional chickens and berries, but I don't know. If it didn't work last game when he had endless goats, which albeit he didn't even eat, it definitely wouldn't work on this game either. We do have the hero coming up wanting to push off of hunt. This is pretty standard for Zeus, is you'll make your hero very early. Pushing off though right when there's only 16 food left, so really isn't pushing off at all. Joe is going to come back anyway. What are we looking at for age ups? Or age up Bast. So he's up actually. Joe is up a little bit faster this game. You'll be up about 5:30. Who are the best players on Voobly? When you're talking 1v1, I mean, you could say you're probably watching them. I mean, this is the finals of the most recent tournament. And really, if you don't play 1v1 in a tournament, does it really matter how good you are in random games? Like, to me, I've never really felt like anybody that doesn't play tournament games, you can really say they're the best of anything. Because it's just random games on Voobly. Does it really matter? Does it really matter on a tournament anyway? Not really. I mean, it's just Age of Mythology. But, you know, the tournament kind of atmosphere adds a little bit to it. So you're watching the 1v1 of the tournament. So I will say these are the best players. If somebody else wants to be called the best player, they should have played in this tournament and got to the finals. So these are your 2 best players right here. There are other very good ones, but they should be in the finals to prove that they're the best. Oh, player is getting a town center, and this is scouted by this obelisk. Yeah, just on the edge of line of sight. Joe will just be doing the standard 1 town center fast heroic. He's at 500 food, 300 gold. Everybody knows you just choose not to play. See, that's another thing that you can say too. Never lost in a tournament. Well, I never played in a tournament. He gets the Black Lotus to improve farming rate. Does get the priest saved. The Mithril Horseshoe relic is still sitting there. Player has it scouted. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't gotten it yet. I guess he's kind of valuing early pressure. But man, this is a risky play. I wonder if he'll use his ceasefire differently this game, and rather than use it right away, he'll wait until the aggression is coming. Maybe that'll be all the difference. Joe a little bit slow. Ooh, he's housed. It's like watching me. I tend to be housed all the time. I think he's actually maybe been housed for a while. The panic build. This is always a bad feeling, the panic build house. He's also slow to build his armory. Or what is it called, an armory or a blacksmith? Armory. Like, Joe probably is pretty close. He has the resources, basically, to advance. Bolt used on the Sphinx. It's a pretty good bolt. Keeping his villas unmolested. Odysseus coming up here to get to this villagers or cheaper relic. It isn't super awesome. It does save, what, 5 food a villager, so I guess for every 10 vills you make, you get 1 for free. But I wonder if Joe's maybe kicking himself for being. See, now he's kind of panic building the armory as well. And we'll be aging up at 8:45. That's a slow advance because he's had the resources to age up for a while. And he's got an 8:45 advance. Does he have pickaxe? Almost, but not quite. He also has some pretty poor villager positioning right now. He needs to cram them all in. Like, that didn't help either. That didn't really help. A little bit better. But, and not even having pickaxe yet, which is huge as well. You think he should have probably waited like the 5 seconds to reposition his vills and get pickaxe. Is the wife feeling better? Yes, she is. She woke up fine. I mean, I guess that's the way migraines work, is that they suck for like 3 or 4 hours and then mystically, magically, they go away. Why they do, who knows. Is he building a granary here? It's kind of a waste of a granary because by the time the vills kill both of these wolves, they will be at like full capacity anyway. So like he could kill this wolf, and then run back. And not have to build a granary at all. But yeah, this is very slow advance. But thank you for answering. Thank you for asking, Mr. Panther. Lots of a centaur getting pegged. Odysseus, brave Odysseus, facing off against 4 priests at one time. We have the amygdala being built. Odysseus just taking lots of damage. I think we will wait for the ceasefire. He could potentially use it to block the amygdala, but I don't think it's worth it. He will probably save it for when he sees the aggression coming. So far, looking a lot better for player, just from last game. Joe kind of screwed himself. He housed himself, and then he kind of armoried himself and slowed down his advance. Player does see the Scorpion Man coming. And he's got his hero. See? Yeah. Joe can't use. Could have gotten that 3rd shot, but just missed. He's trying to path block him. The one thing is the Scorpion Man is fat. But he does kind of weasel his way through there. But the Scorpion Man is going to die. Scorp kind of took looked like a way out right here, but player with some quick builds was able to get that Scorpion Man trapped, and getting that Scorpion killed. That is very important. We saw last game the 4 Scorpions at 12 minutes. That's very strong. And in fact, Joe built 2 monuments last game. He only has 1 this game, and a terrible mining camp placement here. Might as well have built it like way over here. This game is interesting, a lot closer. Joe's kind of self-destructing a little bit. He had a Vil killed, and Joe kind of out of position here. Kind of surprised you could fit another mining camp in between this one and the gold mine. And he's got like this mining camp here. Why is he trying to mine from this one? Hey, what's up, Zebchi? We are on the finals of the spring tournament. I believe the term is carapace. No, I don't think carapace. Spiders don't have carapaces. That's turtles. And maybe beetles. Do beetles have... No, turtles have shells. I don't think... No, maybe it is called a carapace. I don't think spiders have carapaces. I don't know. Yeah, did Joe forget that it's here? He could put maybe... Yeah, Joe... I don't know. It's almost like Joe did forget about his gold mine here. You could just wall this and have safe gold. Yes, this is the Sheltie tournament. This is the finals. They were finally played this weekend, so I am streaming them. Yeah, Joe is very, very slow this game as compared to the last one. And the longer the... He's still trying to mine this gold mine when he has one right here. This is very strange. And he's he has to use Ancestor's Eclipse in defense. This was a premature Ancestor's Eclipse. He didn't need to use that. Like, and the only reason he has to use it is because he's mining gold up here when he has this right here. Like, it's literally a screen within the same screen of his town center, just barely. But he's trying to mine from this one. Like, he could just completely switch it up, and oh, even with the Ancestor's Eclipse, he still is getting raided. And these down here aren't really doing much. And these over here aren't doing really much either. And we are getting a little bit of a counter raid slightly here, but just this is what player, this is what you got to do against Ancestor's Eclipse if you can. Is just run away, not lose your army, and that's what he's doing. In fact, Joe might turn around and trap this Scorpion Man. Turn around, trap. Scorpion Man, as soon as he loses his speed boost, he won't be able to avoid Odysseus's shots, and yeah, he's going to lose another Scorpion Man. This was doing a lot of work here, though. That poison is a really good special, but he needs to run it. Run, 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 run. Joe losing all of his Scorpion Men, and it's only at one town center while player's been at 2 for so long. We can see players at almost 130 pop. Joe is only at 83, and is still trying to mine from this gold mine desperately, walling it off, building migdols when he has this one. Oh, he's coming to this one now. He has remembered. But like, this game is entirely different. Oh, the Hippocon run in before, and see now, does he have the Pierce Armor upgrade? He does too. Oh, let's see, they're gonna live forever and do a lot of damage. And Joe just packs it in. This was kind of self-inflicted mistakes, I feel like, by Joe. The house, the armory, and then the gold mine front when he has a gold mine back. Like, what he could do instead of getting this gold mine, obviously go this one, but then he has this town center training villagers to go to this gold mine, and he could have this town center training to go to the wood line, and instead of trying to cram everything here. But that was player played well, but I feel like this game was more so kind of lost by Joe's decisions, or the bad decisions that he made. But don't want to take away from Joe or player either. He played this pretty well. Kind of entertaining how this was so much better played than the last one. What relic do they have? I think they had the Mithril Horseshoes, yes, which makes them faster, which is also very good. How does the Scorpion Man poison work? So the Scorpion Man special is the poison, and it basically has like an initial splash damage area where when he uses the special, it will affect all units within a very close radius, and then they will tick damage for... I don't know what the exact damage is. I think it's about maybe 20 to 30 damage. Probably 20, closer to 20, that it will tick for all of the units until it's done. It's usually about 15 to 20 damage, I think. But anyway, game, that was our 4th game, technically, maybe. And players up 3-1. So this is a best of 7. So this is now match point for a player if he continues to win. So we will take a quick look at our post game. See player just way ahead in vill count. We see the initial damage of effect, area of effect. So right when it attacks, right when that special is used, is when that area of attack comes into play. After that, you can't. Once you're poisoned, you can't avoid it. It's done. But we could see the incredible delay of vills. In fact, it looks like he was maybe housed twice, because it only takes 15 seconds to build a villager, and he didn't build his first villager until 30 seconds after. So we had one villager chop here, and then we had 2. Yeah, they had 30 more seconds of idle time right here. So that's significant when you figure that Joe could have 3 more villagers gathering at least for the rest of the game. That's a lot of resources that they could have gathered that he didn't have. And then he also was kind of armoried himself as well. But, you know, there's little things can make big differences. And I like how he didn't even delete his wall and they all had to run all the way around here. But anyway, we will move on to our next game here. Marsh. Marsh is my favorite map in the game. And I think it's actually most players' favorite maps. I mean, that's why we have Random Land Map version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is basically just Marsh reskinned 10 times over. But we have Marsh, and on our right is player as Zeus, and on our left is Joe as Isis. So Joe in blue, and we have player in red. Thanks to Cube. I think Random Land Map. Maybe I don't know. Random Land Map kind of came in version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of came into use when I was not playing, and then I came back in like 2011 and it was like everybody loved it. And remember, guys, for those maybe new showing up, no spoilers. And player or Joe is moving forward now. Okay, so the reason he's doing this, though he might as well have just gone forward initially, because you know you're always going to have forward hunt in Marsh, is because he's anticipating getting pushed off by the hero early on, so he wants to be able to eat these boar, nom 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 nom, and then when Jason shows up to be annoying, Joel can just move back to his back deer here and eat them, and though he also has back hippo as well. So Joe has a ton of base hunt. That's pretty standard for Marsh, and player will have the same as well. Strategically here, you could actually see Joe using something different. This is kind of a map where you could potentially see him going Anubis. He is an Anubis fan, but I don't know if Anubis into Zeus is a good idea, so maybe scratch that. He might end up doing a 2 town center fast heroic, or he could try just the 1 town center again and just try to do it better. Is that a boar? It looks more like a cat to me, I'll be honest. It looks like it has little kitty whiskers, but whatever. Relic. So like Alfheim, Marsh also has 4 relics, whereas most of them only have... See, the tusks to me look like whiskers. Alfheim and Marsh have 4 relics. So let's take a look at our relics. We have the Ship of Fingernails, more food to your cities, walls and gates cheaper. Infantry does more damage to Titans, and Joe has improves cavalry speed, so that shows up again. And that's a good relic, and this time Joe has snagged it up, or as some might call it, he snarfed it up. Or groufed it up as well. Eating the boar. So player probably will do 2 town center like he always does. It worked last game. He yoinked it. He did. That's another good one. Yoink! He yoinked it. Wife beater pulling out the thesaurus on me. What are we looking at for gold mines? Marsh usually pretty generous with the gold mines as well. Got one here, and I think the other one was down here. So really none protected by a settlement. This one kind of is. One thing though is that Joe's settlement does not protect any hunt. Players does. This is a very juicy settlement actually. Look at all of the boar that it kind of commands, and by the time you lure the boar in, they will be right here. Whereas Joe's settlement is kind of in a bit of a vacancy here. Not a whole lot going on. Just 2 hippo. They're way down here. He is getting his monument, and I think Joe is making sure he won't be housed this game. He's got all sorts of houses. He's got all of them getting planted down there. Whew, and player has the lion's share of the pigs as well. 13-8. So does player go forward and get this town center? I feel like he does. He is up Hermes, sending Jason forward. Push these guys off of Hunt again. It looks like Joe will be doing the same thing as before. The Bast uppage at probably 5:30 or so. Well, actually slower because he's not even beginning his temple. Now he is. And oh, this was a second monument. Never mind. So, yeah, Joe definitely wanting to get more Scorpion Men this game. And we'll retreat this lady back home. These will take a few hacks at Jason. And again, hacks at Jason. Back to hunting. Jason will kill the obelisk. Back to the vills. A little bit of a dance here. This is the Age of Mythology interpretive dance? Is that what it's called? Interpretive? What I interpret from this is that Joe is running back to his base. As soon as he sees Hermes come up with the centaur. And player is getting the back town center. I guess he does have two hippopotamus or hippopotami over there. But I guess he doesn't want to get this one because it is forward, so that makes a Joe fast heroic push a little bit faster. But this is match point. If Joe loses this, the tournament is over. I hope Joe wins just so we can have more games. I always enjoy a game 7 in the final series, and maybe we will get that. So far, there haven't really been any glaring mistakes or anything that you could point to and say, well, that sucked. So that's good to see. Joe's still hanging on to this relic like he's kind of keeping it in his back pocket, and then he'll suddenly pull her out. Drop it off and have faster cavalry. I am having a bit of a brain fart, but I do not believe that relic affects chariots. Someone maybe that's very intelligent in chat could either confirm or deny, but I don't think it affects chariots. So yeah, Joe has plenty of houses this time. He is immediately building his armory. Yes, but chariots are pulled by a horse. So why cannot that horse be faster? So Joe was, but yeah, he's not forgetting his armory this time, and nor is he forgetting his houses. So not housed, won't be armoried. We'll be up probably at least 30 seconds faster with more villagers. Player is getting his hunt forward here when he can. Uh-oh, we've got the Sphinx coming. We might see it get bolted. Last game, player bolted the Sphinx. Since both of his heroes are down here, if the Sphinx were to continue, it will probably get bolted again. Just getting down line of sight. You never want to leave the obelisk standing up just because it's free line of sight. What kind of attacks? Does have pickaxe. Player has pickaxe and hand axe at a very strangely double granary here. Good ship of fingernails. Uh-oh. This Sphinx. Joe has forgotten about his Sphinx. Come on now, man. Philly is probably trying to wall this off right here, which actually this is a pretty good place to wall, but this croc is kind of playing defense. Alright, so prosperity. He now does have pickaxe to start off with here, so that is better. Ooh, Allie. Allie might spot this. She might come over here and nibble on the villager's leg. Anyone in chat ever been bitten by a crocodile? It's actually not Allie at all, it's Croc, but we'll call it Allie the Croc. Here she comes. Gonna gnaw on a villager. Oh, Centaur coming in to save the day, but misses the first shot. Gets the second shot, and there goes Allie the Croc. Has eaten a villager. And thank you, Centaur, for the help. So that crocodile has done more work than the Sphinx has so far this game. Player coming all the way down to the far gold mine. Did he scout the close one? Yeah. I guess he'll do the far gold mine. Like, this is actually a sucky gold mine to go to, because if he gets raided here, right here, the only way he can run is this way, because there is no hole right here. So he's gonna, if this gets raided, he's got to run back here as opposed to, oh, the early Ancestors Eclipse will create a lot of idle Vil time. We're gonna get a Vil dead, maybe? Yeah. So Vil dead, they are ignoring the villagers here. Another Vil dead, he got her, him. Got her. And this guy might probably warp in. Oh, yep, there he goes. These ancestors are just standing around. Mithril horseshoes don't apply. I didn't think so. Man, these right here could have been killed. In fact, the Sphinx probably just ran right past all these when he came to do this damage. So yeah, this is the other way that Isis can use Ancestors Eclipse, is that rather than do it in conjunction with the push, you can do it right away to cause just a whole lot of villager mayhem. And when you think about it, I mean, there's 12 villagers that have been idle here for a long time. There was some more idle vills here. His Sphinx is going to get walled in though, but he can move. Player just for safety is walling in the forest. But what this does now, and then Joe he does have double. He built a second monument, so he's going to have a ton of Scorpion Men. But that Ancestors Eclipse then gives Joe complete reign of the map, and now we're going to see a problem where I pointed out earlier. If Joe spots these vills, they have no way to go. And it might even force out the ceasefire from player, but Joe's got to spot it. Does he ever scout that? No. He didn't scout it, but he might run down there just to check, but we shall see. He does not have that scouted, so maybe, just maybe, they'll be safe. But ooh, these... a little bit of extra damage here. And Joe going with a really heavy early aggression now is bringing in the siege camp, getting his second town center now. Player, I feel like that really damaged player quite a bit. He does have husbandry though for the piggies, so they will be faster. Those vills might just skate. Ooh, where are these going? What in the world? Player is like being really eager with his miners here, and here comes Allie's sister. It's going after another vill. That's 2 dead, and yep, run, get her. Boom, she's dead. So 3 vills, 3 of the 4, on a very strange march to the gold mine. Very odd. Player kind of likes to do that, I've noticed from watching his Rex in this tournament, is he kind of likes putting his gold miners or wood villagers or what have you in like positions that the enemy would maybe not anticipate. But man, we've got 4 Scorpion Men, 1 gets bolted, the Sphinx is down. Jason's dead, courtesy of the chariots, who will now shoot at Odysseus. And yeah, this is not a good fight for player. He's losing a lot of his Hippocon. And Joe really didn't lose much. We see what Joe did not do the last few games, is Joe has mixed in a few elephants. These guys really more so are for their tank than, though they do decent damage. What is their base damage? 15 hack, which is pretty good, but you kind of more so make them for their just tank meat shield properties, and they just live forever. And if you're not paying attention and the Hippocon are just whacking away at an elephant forever, then you get all these chariots living the high life behind them. But looks like Joe is going to steal this forward town center. And what are we doing? What's player got for resources? Not a ton. It does have all the first line. They aren't almost as tanky as Gold Colossus. I think that's a troll question. Maybe it's not a troll question. They are very tanky. They're like the Age 3 version of the Colossus. This is another nice fight for Joe. The Hippocon just... Oh, Oh, run. Oh, he could have saved the Scorpion Man. Oh, but he didn't. And now another Scorpion Man is dying. Joe needs to be a little bit more careful with this Scorpion Man. The Scorps dying are kind of ruining his push here. And Joe's player's trying to block this one off. Yep, he blocks it. And that Joe a little bit careless with all of his Scorpion Men. But player will have to retreat, or Joe will, yeah, player will have to retreat, while Joe does maintain the advantage there. But actually, that battle went better for player than I thought it would. That the end result was, ooh, getting close. The end result was Joe losing all of his Scorpion Men, and he could have saved a couple there. He got just a little bit careless. And we do have this lone relic. Which one was this one? Infantry does more damage to Titans. But Joe in a very good spot still. Player needs gold and idle here. Oh, player will probably. Oh, how much gold does he have on this one? 700. Player could find himself in a bit of a gold bind pretty soon. Once this one runs out, he'll have to hope that these stay here. But the question is, all of these units that Joe has have so long of line of sight. As soon as a chariot moves like here, these vills will be in sight. But they have just missed like so many times. This is so funny. And now he's probably going to go up here. But yeah, these chariots, just all they have to do, one of them just moves right here. And these vills will all be dead. And yeah, this mine can't be used. And yeah, Joe is sending this one here just to get line of sight in case player adds that. But if player he's gonna have a hard time defending. This is a lot of siege units. But he's got these Hippocon running in from the back end, but you got the Scorpion Man playing defense here, and he will kind of mow down a lot of these Hippocon. So the Hippocon have wisely just kind of ran past and are targeting the chariots. So actually, this flank is actually done really well for Joe. Really good, or player, really good flank. But now they need to get out of here. Run, 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 run. They're just losing units now at this point, player. Yeah, there you go. It is allowing him to get a lot of hacks on these siege camps. Like, Joe's army has disappeared. Man, these siege towers aren't cheap. This is 300 resources a pop. And so far we've seen two, almost the other ones. And oh, ceasefire has been used. Maybe a little bit early. Like, I would save ceasefire until the towers are actually pounding at the town center. And we did see a random camel ran down here. I think Joe was maybe a little suspicious because he knew this gold mine has to be down by now. And so he was kind of, I think, checking the back here to see if there was a gold mine, and there was. And now player is on this other gold mine. Player, yeah, he is at a gold crisis. 1,800 food, 24 gold. And as soon as this ceasefire is done, these villas will be cleaned up. And then once Joe cleans those up, Joe can really just ignore the pressure and just run his army up here. So actually, you might see as soon as I unfog the war, the chariots are probably running up here with the Scorpion Man. And oh, and he walled this too. Oh man, those poor villies. So they're all dead, and yes, we see the chariot Scorpion Man running up here, and player is going to be in a bit of a bind. He's making a market to probably sell a bunch of gold, but Hippocon take a ton of gold. I wonder if player will be like a panic mythic, which won't work because he'll have no army. So we'll see. He's going to sell his food and probably some wood as well. A little bit of a raid here. Nice raid. Nice raid. Nice raid. What does player do? Selling. Selling. Buying. What did he... He's using his gold, but I'm not sure what he spent it on. I think it was maybe went to all the auto-queued Hippocon that he had. But like, I don't know. Yeah, he doesn't have enough gold to age up and fight at the same time. So he's at a bit of a bind. Like, this game is actually substantially different if one of these gold mines is over here. But it's not. So, sucks to be you, player. Got Hippocon fighting Camel. This isn't a good fight for Joe, or for player, I mean, but what's he gonna do? He has no gold. Selling. He keeps selling resources to get his gold, but making Manticore because he has no gold. Which do some work, actually. And Joe is up Osiris, which will then be the end of all of these Manticore. And I think that'll kind of be game. Joe just, really nice town center push here, which kind of proxy gave control of all these gold mines. And that is GG. Well played by Joe that game. Really well played. The Ancestors Eclipse did enough work to slow Joe or player down, allowed Joe to take map control, get this town center, which was huge, and then prevented player from getting any of the gold, and player was gold starved. So GG, well played by Joe. And pretty even in resources as well. Even though he was ahead, even though player was ahead in villagers, Joe was still just neck and neck in resources. Military, Joe's a little bit of an advantage. So we will update. So we have at least one more game. I am going to take a potty break. So give me just a second. And I will be right back. Why is this all buggy like this? Remove. There we go. Now it's not bugged. Player probably, yeah, maybe should have gone for that forward. Number 1 or number 2? What do you mean? Anyway, give me a sec. Oh, this is the first potty break. So give me a minute. Let me just put on a little bit of random AOM music. And I'll be back. Give me 2 minutes. Or maybe 1. Alrighty. Back with freshly washed hands. Let's get this music turned off. Verson said player could have gone or should have gone for the forward town center first. The one thing though, if he does that,
is that it is pretty forward for an Ancestors Eclipse siege push, so that's probably why he went for the back one. But then Joe didn't do an Ancestors Eclipse siege push, he just did Ancestors Eclipse on the base.
But anyway, we are going now to game number 6. So far, Joe, with his back up against the wall, has won one game. He needs to do it twice more if he wants to win the series. So we have maybe one more game, maybe two. We will see. Just so you guys know, I do have a full slate of games here. Because player started the series. Let's go way back in time. Player started the series with a 1-0 advantage because he emerged top player in the semifinals. So 6 games to be played, potentially. So technically these are game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5, game 6, game 7. Now the fact that there is this game 6/7, my guy who provides me these recorded games always sends me the full recorded games as if there are a full set of 7 games or 6 games. So game 5 might be the last one. I don't know. Maybe some in the chat do, but again, no spoilers. We will move to game 5/game 6 in this series. Make sure I got things set up right. Sometimes I forget my overlay. Looks like everything's good to go, and showed up just in time, Mr. Viper. Game number 5. I don't know, Panther. We'll wait. Anyway, game 6, not 5. Game 6 is Isis versus Zeus on Watering Hole. So far, we have gotten all land maps, and so far, each land map has been different. This is kind of cool. I like it. I don't know if there was any sort of map set for this. I don't think it was. I think it was just random, and then players would use a veto if they got a map they didn't like, and maybe like 2 vetoes. But anyway, Watering Hole. It's a good Isis map. It's also a good Zeus map. Tends to be kind of defensive. But anyway, we have player in red again. And he is Zeus. And we have Joe in blue on our top left. And he is Isis. And my guy, as Panther says, is Blackadder. So yes, he is very helpful when it comes to these types of things. If I want to have the recorded game sent to me in a way that I can watch them without knowing the results, I will contact Blackadder and he will get them to me in an alley somewhere in town. He's wearing a trench coat. He'll kind of open up his coat pocket, kind of show me what he's got, and I'm like, ooh, a zip file with recorded games. And he'll be like, how much do you think I can give these to you for? And I'll say, free, or I'll lock you back up in my basement. And he gives them to me for free. Anyway, enough of the weird foolishness. Watering Hole. Let's take a look at our relics. Girdle of Hippolyta gives Chariots more hit points. That's very good. And then we have the Eye of Horus, which gives +2 population for each town center. So both pretty solid relics, actually. We're looking at a pretty defensive Watering Hole. There can be quite a few connections, I guess you could say, between the islands, so to speak. You got a player island here, a player island here, and then the middle kind of island. And it's kind of random as far as how many connections they will be. There can be like up to, I think, 4 maybe. Or there can be one bigger one, or they can be 2, or just 1. In this case, one big connection here with some annoying forest right through the middle. This will kind of be some path blocking nightmare. And then we do have this sneaky connection right here. Sometimes these little side connections can be missed. It can be very damaging for the player who doesn't notice that it exists. But Watering Hole, as you might imagine, or historically throughout the annals of Age of Mythology time, Very high hunt, and no, this is not live. We're watching recorded games, but we keep the game spoiler free. So this is almost as good as watching live, just maybe not quite with the number of people in chat, but hopefully it's almost as fun as watching it live. So we got some rhinos up here hanging out with their little buddies, the hyenas. We've got more rhinos down here, and we've got water buffalo. So basically how the middle hunt spawn works is that there are two different groups of middle hunt, and each will spawn twice per player. So there will be 4 packs of rhinos in the middle, and 4 packs of water buffalo in the middle, which is what we have. And that's a lot of hunt. I mean, this is 1,600 hunt. No, 2,000 hunt here. And this is, what is it, 400 times, yeah, 2,400. So 2,400 per water buffalo pack and 2 grand per rhino pack. That's a lot of hunt. And then we'll have, everybody will get a back gazelle and then a back rhino, and then sometimes will be elephants. Yes, there will be elephants spawning. And here are elephants for Joe and elephants for player. So yeah, each player will get your starting pack of hunt and then 3 additional island hunt. Well, technically 4 if you count the birds. So 1 pack of birds, there'll be an additional gazelle, and there will be an additional rhino or hippo, and then the elephant. So a lot of hunt. How do I find out about the hunt spawns? It's because since I've done a lot of work on the Voobly Balance patch, I did a lot of looking at the map scripts, because before I never really understood how it worked, and I think most players don't, and it's something that could probably be beneficial to learn the map spawns, because the map spawns are pretty much standardized per map. I mean, there is randomization, but you know what the randomization is based on what it says in the map script. How much food is an elephant? Correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 800. Might be 850, but 800. How do I look? I guess it has to be in line of sight for me to be able to see it. Okay, if I do player, I can see. I can't. How much is the hunt? Gee, somebody call the patch team. I'm struggling here. Player sending forward, just like last time. This is kind of a remix of all the other games. We've got his Jason coming forward, his Centaur coming forward, trying to just keep Joe in his base. Joe's got some. Okay, I'm assuming these guys will kind of correct themselves here with their pathing. Kind of weird placement for the house. It is 800. All right, thank you. Usually somebody in the chat will help out with questions. And oh, this is wide open down here. Joe did not wall this, so yeah, these guys will come in and push these units off of hunt. But Joe has plenty of food to age up. He's still got this rhino. Well, it's almost done. But he's going to have to move this, so he's a little bit slow in moving these. Ooh. Ooh. Player will kill one. No, rhino is 500. Oh, just got it. Joe with a very... He even saw these units coming. And just a very slow reflex to move them. But Joe will be advancing up pretty quick here. Or no. Joe is not fast heroicing. I feel like this was almost like a last second decision from him. Because he had all the food to age up and he had the gold. And then I bet it's because he forgot his armory. He never built his armory, so I think this is forcing Joe to go to plan B, which is grab settlements, which I don't think is the optimal choice for him. Maybe it's on purpose, but I feel like if he were intending to do this, he would have grabbed his town center faster and aged up faster to classical age. Jason getting very bold here, and will probably die for no reason, or at least lose a ton of his hit points. And then Joe with the priest can just heal the Sphinx back up. Let's take a look at what's going on the other side of the map, though. Player is hunting freely in the front. Player should know that he can hunt for a while now because Joe has gotten a second town center. And did have a little bit of idle time, but we'll get this 500 food from our rhino. Odysseus coming up to maybe kill this Vil. Oh, she's running the wrong way. Oh no, lady. Oh, yeah, okay, she'll make it. But, oh, making a barracks too. The wall not quite in a good enough spot. Like, even though he built this wall, it doesn't protect from Odysseus. Odysseus is a very mean man. And Joe using prosperity without pharaoh empowerment too. Loses a Vil. I feel like Joe is kind of playing this a little bit sloppy so far. Is he upping now? Yeah, he is. Or will be soon. Should be upping pretty quick. Yep, there he is. So he is upping. Making some spearmen. Only one monument this game, though. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, it does force out the bolts. So a little bit sloppy, I feel like, for Joe so far. But we shall see. Player does not have a lot of natural resources in his base when it comes to hunt. It actually has a lot of units very far forward right now. At 50%. I would think we will see these Vils go moving back to the base soon. Because if Joe scouts this and uses Ancestor's Eclipse right away, 11 Vils that's worth. Because there'd be no way if he uses Ancestor's Eclipse here, the Vils would all die. But Spear's kind of getting plugged away. Just pushing on this wall here. Odysseus standing guard. How's player doing? Alright, so Joe did just age up, making his Migdol stronghold. Does not have line of sight of this granary, though. He's getting up his Migdol without any problem. These Hippicon are like just out of range. Alright, so the Migdol is up. Joe does have some very safe gold mine. It looks like both players did not scout to know that this connects. So this could be a little surprise raid at some point later on, maybe. You never know. Or it might never come into play, and the fact that these actually connect might not matter. Player with his eco does have the first line upgrades minus husbandry and plow. Joe does not have hand axe, which would kind of be useful for him to get. This Vil is stuck in the woods. Joe getting, player getting a lot of hunt that probably could be prevented. Yeah, he's gonna have to run now. And we'll see if Joe will notice Vils on the other side. We'll kill two, maybe a third Vil if the chariots can get on fast enough. Nope. So 2 Vils killed. And okay, so the player is preemptively retreating these villagers. Just wanting to get as much of the forward hunt as he can before he has to move to the back. I'm actually surprised. I wonder if the player would walk all the way down here to his elephants. They're essentially perfectly safe because of all these walls. This is coming up pretty close here. Joe still has Ancestor's Eclipse. Player still has Ceasefire. Player does have his second gold mine upgrade. Player might wait until age 3 to come out and get his town center. Or maybe even age 4. Player might just do a mythic with what he's got. He's looking for a raid. Some nice walls here to protect the Vils. And then Joe is also looking for a raid. And player will move in here, path block the Vills. Always try to path block. Don't just like run in and immediately attack, because then the Vills can all run away. So he is killing 1, 2, 3. Ooh, nice raid. Now he can run his Hippocon, I feel like. There you go. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Vills. That was a solid raid, and Joe just a little bit slow to notice, actually. But nice raid. That was a nice pickup by player there, and I think he only ended up losing 1 Hippocon for all of that. So solid raid for him. 7 Vills. And you figure that's 7 Vills that aren't gathering until Joe eventually reaches 80. Because 80 is the max. And Joe is looking to grab this town center, which he will. Which tells me that player will probably go straight to Mythic. Though with not a lot of food in his base, it'll take him a while. I'm surprised he doesn't run down here. Like right now, actually, you look at player's resources, and he's kind of out of position. Oh, these Scorpion Men need to come running this way, though. Because the Chariot's getting flanked by the Hippocon. There we go. And we have Ancestor's Eclipse has been used, but used unnecessarily. I don't think Joe will get a lot. That was a winning fight eventually for Joe anyway. And now he uses 2 God powers for not quite as much as they could have gotten. Like, I mean, they'll still do some damage, but he definitely could have saved it for a little bit later. And his Scorpion Man here is getting killed by Odysseus, and he might lose. Oh, this one's running to do some raiding though. But very strong push by Joe here, though. Like, he's actually getting more value out of this Ancestor's Eclipse than I thought he would. Odysseus, some really nice, I don't know if you guys saw, but player popped Odysseus in on this side and put him out over here. That was really nice usage of that. But wow, this push is going a lot better for Joe than I thought it would. No, you can't. Eclipse blocks God powers. So I guess that it's also, ooh, the Scorp Man, because Odysseus didn't follow, he's going to do some damage up here, maybe. Well, running away. Yeah, Eclipse blocks God powers. So for Isis, it's like a double whammy, because Eclipse also boosts Myth unit power. But theoretically, yes. You can, and it is done, where if you kind of predict the Ancestor's Eclipse, you can cast Ceasefire in between the clicking of the Ancestor's Eclipse. But you have to be really fast and almost like guess to do it ahead of time. Which, like I said, also explains maybe why Joe was using Ancestor's Eclipse a little bit earlier than what I thought he should have. Is because if he waits, he might get his Ancestors Ceasefired. So player is, yeah, he's going to have to try to break out 2 to 4 town centers. And the Ancestors did actually quite a bit of damage. And I'm surprised that we don't see player. In fact, Joe is already aging up. Joe is aging up faster than player, and Joe is at 4 town centers. Player did notice this, though. Yeah. But what I'm saying is I'm surprised player never came down here to eat the 1600 worth of hunt, because hunt is the fastest gathering food source by far, especially because hunting dogs gives plus 30. Like by base it's already I think the fastest, and then you get an additional 30% faster and it becomes the way fastest. I think player is maybe, yeah, he's looking for gold, but the gold miners are all up here, not down here. Okay, Joe's eco upgrades are a little bit, farming is slower, even with all the ups. Hunting is still faster, I think just by a little bit. Couple follows in the stream. Crimson and Joni. Not Forlord Crimson, but Forlorn Crimson. Joe getting some docks. I think he's maybe worried about Mythic Age boats. Okay, so got a follow train coming through town. Did Joe ever, or did player ever scout that back gold mine? I think he did. Yes, he knows it's there, but he's not attacking it. So Joe up Osiris, and player will be up Mythic soon. He's pounding out his armories so that he can spam out his armory techs soon. We have Osiris being used right outside of vision. Here is Osiris. Oh, Joe's gonna score, or player's gonna score with the raid here. If he notices, they're kind of running side by side. And there he goes. He's gonna kill all of them. It's actually a little bit surprising that Joe is not being quite as aggressive, because he sees all of these Hippocon. I mean, this is player's almost all of his entire army. So player can actually kill these vills, and then if he needs to, if the push is coming fast enough, use cease fire while the Hippocons come back. But because Joe does not have, like, why Joe needs to be attacking here to try to force out an Ancestors, because he has the army advantage. I mean, he's up 4-2 town centers, and half of player's army is way up here. But he's being just a little bit too passive. Like, he'll end up probably forcing out the the transport ship. We'll maybe see. Oh, the mummy on the Colossus. So good. We might see ceasefire coming soon. Really, player has to have a magical. Player needs to have a very magical underworld to win this. Which Joe does not have any building upgrades, though. Oh, here comes Bellerophon. Jump in, and Bellerophon's such a good unit. See, and he takes all of the chariot archer fire, which allows player to kill the catapults. And now with the siege down, Joe can retreat, or player can I keep getting them mixed up. Player can retreat if he wants, and then wait until his armory upgrades come into play. Because, yeah, we see his 3 armory upgrades, armories, all training. We might end up seeing like a little proxy build up here too from player. Joe, I think, is finding himself a little bit economically stagnant, because he doesn't even have fortified town centers, and he doesn't have too many upgrades either. Like no heavy siege, only 1 bear armory upgrade. Whereas player, of course, he gets the cheaper armory upgrades courtesy of his Forge of Olympus tech. But I think it's because, yeah, Joe is still way behind. Like, he needs to value his eco upgrades first. He's only got the first level plow. He does have Sacred Cats. And yes, we are now seeing player attempting a proxy build. He is in line of sight. I think Joe got signal fires. Yes, he did. And Joe does have now both of the building upgrades. Okay, so player walling this off. So this is what you want to do once it starts getting late game, is start trying to do proxy builds. And player is actually pushing now. Oh, the chariots run up here looking for, I'm not sure what. Not sure what the game plan is for the chariots. I think he did see this. Oh, but the mercenary. And being on the bottom, all the horsies died. And oh, if you can, nope, that one wall up segment. Oh, this isn't paying attention. He could block it off. He does. Yeah, but player is gonna need to do a. He's gonna need to get his underworld in soon. Like he needs to. He can get this town center, but once fortified town centers come up, it's gonna be tough, and he's researching it now. Bellerophon just pegging away at Osiris and might kill him. One more shot. Oh, didn't quite get that attack in. Player almost all the armory techs. Does have that walled off. He's got his scout here. Joe does not have a trade either. Player does, but his trade route is pretty poor. Well, he's only got 2. But player needs to get his underworld in pretty soon. He moved his scout so he's not spotted. But yeah, player needs to underworld, get his fortified or his siege upgrade. And he needs this is where he needs to underworld too. I like this trade route for now. Watching the stream made you buy Age of Mythology. Well, sorry for making you spend your money, man. The one nice thing that this wall does, though, is that it prevents Joe from trading. This is the long trade route, and this is a very short end. Okay, so the scout's moving, so we're going to have player is going to be doing his underworld very soon. But he does not have upgraded siege. So a player is trying to get in position, and Joe is anticipating this. Building a Migdol on the back town center. So Joe knows it's coming. Player needs to get his Hippocons back. The Prodromos not so good against chariots. But I don't know, I think it's too late now. With Joe having all of the building upgrades, even if he does an underworld now with 4 Helipolis, I don't think he will kill the town center. But Joe still no upgrade siege either, which is really hurting him. Because the siege engineers gives more range and more damage. So okay, so now the underworld has to be coming in now. Like there's no other time that player can really wait to do it. So okay, now the underworld is in. How's Joe for eco? Only has 200 gold though, so he can't spam mercenaries. Like not having a trade route is really hurting Joe. And having so few eco upgrades, like his eco upgrades are really hurting him. But all the building upgrades, yeah, he's got everything. So Joe just needs to. Problem is, we've got still has ceasefire, which could be huge. Path blocking himself too. He needs to get these chariots in to get on either the town center or the underworld. But will he get? Yeah, I don't think he'll get the town center yet without having upgraded siege. But Joe, without having eco though, yeah, he can't build mercenaries. He doesn't have the eco. And he's going to be a little too slow because Joe's trying to get this town center down before his goes down because you know ceasefire is coming in so the player can grab this town center. So Joe is trying to get the at least one town center. So there's the ceasefire. And player is going to even up the town center count. And is blocking all of Joe's trade. This wall here is so huge. And yeah, this little pathway here has turned to be quite significant in this game. Because if there's no pathway here, Joe is just trading freely market from here to here, which is way longer than what he was doing. So Joe is in now, suddenly, he's been in the advantage all game, and he's ahead score, but he's behind in the game now. He needs to reposition his units. This is not good positioning right now with what he's got. like he's not positioning anything. Yes, Panther says that Joe player has control of all the corners. Okay, so he's repositioning slightly, but these chariots are going melee mode, which isn't what you want. And Bellerophon just jumps on the one, and now he's trying to kill the underworld. But yeah, this is not a good fight, and Joe is in some really big trouble. Unupgraded Axeman. Distance is everything, which technically is time traveled, but it's a little bit different because the caravan calculates how much gold it's going to get based on a straight line from the market to the town center. So if you have like a wall here and your caravans run all the way across the map, it's still the same as if they just run this way. But yeah, Joe's in a lot of trouble. And Osiris will be killed by this Helipolis in one more volley. One more volley. Oh, he lives. Oh, look at this though. This is a nice little tree. Tree line for Joseph. Oh, but the siege boats come here will finish off all of this. And Bellerophon might just be able to get in range. Oh, I keep shooting, Joe. Bellerophon might there. I don't think Bellerophon can reach now, but he can run all the way around if he really wants to. What kind of? Oh, player has all the building upgrades too. Bellerophon just so wants to jump on top of this catapult. Oh, can the siege not reach? I think they could maybe reach, but not quite. Okay, so this wall is dead, but Joe is probably got himself gold blocked right now, or almost. 140 gold. He will get this town center down though. This is some really nice walls, but at the same time, player is getting the forward town. Player, I think, thought that this town center was in range of these ships, so he actually put a lot of resources into these ships, and they are really getting him a lot of advantage. So look at this big fight we're gonna have here. We're gonna have a Vil fight over this gold mine. Joe will get this town center down. Osiris lives with 14 hit points. But we've got the underworld here. And Joe is losing his forward. We've got unupgraded Axeman with second line of upgrades. But it's still close, but player definitely in a very good position. Losing some Vils here. I wonder if Joe, Joe obviously, he's got these boats here, knows that this is connected. Okay, so down to, we're currently at 2-2 towns. At least this game is very close. It's amazing how long Osiris is living with almost no hit points. Is player like out of eco? He is. Player, look at that. 45 food, 11 wood, 90 gold. And oh no, Osiris. Oh, he's down for the count. Player needs to change. I don't know why he is trading with this market. He needs to, like, his trade route would be almost like twice as long. And of course, trade is exponentially better the longer it is. So like, player is really hurting himself with this poor trade route here. And Joe is almost trying to help him by putting pressure here to like encourage player to delete the market. But player's going to build this forward town center. Ooh, maybe. He's trying to get the mummy on the Colossus. We've got Hercules. Oh, Herc. This is Hercules, right? Yep. Oh, Heracles, not Hercules. Heracles down here. Okay. Mummy to the Colossus. We got the fight here. I don't know. Joe needs to wall this off. Okay, here comes the mummy. Oh no, the mummy. Oh, now retreat, 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 retreat. Yes, run, run. What's the speed here? 4 speed to 4 speed. Oh, they have the same speed. Hercules getting a little bit of a bonus there. Oh, the mummy stopped. Well, that was anticlimactic. But player does have all of the armory upgrades. Joe is not trading anywhere. You think he would build a market up here and start trading? Like, this is a lot of caravans that could be doing something but aren't. So 2-2 town centers. Oh, just gonna get it in time. Oh man, that might be the doom for Joe. Might be doom. So Joe doing player a favor, killing the inefficient market. And like, this market is just as good here, and now, yeah, player is moving down here to build another market. Joe trying to get this town center, but oh no, the mummy wasting his special on the Hippocon. Ah, that's too bad. Need the mummy's special on the, I'm trying to move the mummy back. On the Colossus. Joe has tons of resources, though. Player does not. But I just don't know if Joe will be able to get this town center. Okay. Mummy on the Colossus, then retreat. I'm surprised Joe isn't making mercenaries. He's got the eco. 2,300 eco. No wood, though. He's hunting. Still, this is also hurting Joe, is that he has just the plow and just the second line. Though, he only has... So the mummy special is an instant kill. So like every 15 seconds the mummy will insta-kill a unit. But right now, wasting another mummy for no reason. Now the mercenaries come, and now we have a kind of a trade route. He needs to get this underworld dead. Like, one of the things Joe's struggling with right now is that he does not have upgraded siege, and he has the resources easily. But it's such a huge upgrade, the siege is, and Joe's going to have some problem defending and attacking both sides here. I don't know why he built his market there either. Like, why not up here? Yes, the mummy can instant kill any unit that's not a siege unit or a hero. And oh, he's... So player is going a little bit too heavy on water. This is a lot of pop he's got on water right now. Without really... It's not really getting him anything. And because of that, even though he's up 3-2 town centers, he can't hold this. And Joe is going to clean up the back side here. Player still has the advantage. He has the attacking advantage here, but losing that back build is pretty big. Because now they will be evened up on town centers, but man, this hurts right here. And the one thing that player will be able to do is, with these triremes, he can get the caravans as they run. So now can Joe hold off on this town center long enough? Oh, here comes Mummy. Mummy to come down and instant kill the Colossus, hopefully. Because yeah, that's just a ton of, what is that? 1,300 hit points with 80% pierce armor. That just dies instantly. And is replaced by a minion. This mass of idle vills. Joe might find himself in a bit of a gold bind, though, because he does not have a market, and he has been pushed off of all gold. He still has 2,000 in the bank, but there's not another gold mine to go to, and player's really taking control of all the corners. He's got control of this corner. control of this corner. He might end up doing a transport as I speak. There is a transport here. He'll probably tranny back and build here. And Joe just... Finally, he has rebuilt his market. Player... Wow! Player's eco, though. He's only at 130, 160 pop, and he is struggling for eco. Joe with some nice walls here. Trying to get range so that he can safely catapult from behind the walls. This game isn't over. But man, this is just so annoying. Yeah, hand axe, you're right. Hand axe. Okay, Joe is finally, though, getting all of his eco upgrades. And he has completely gotten all of these military buildings done. But player just has control of the sides. But Joe trying his hardest here. Boy, upgraded siege would be so good. He needs to repair his town center too. Rebuilding houses. No, there is no limit to the no-cost buildings. You could spam granaries and lumber camps and mining camps to your armories and markets to your heart's content. Surprised Joe is not rebuilding his trade route down here. At least that's a little bit farther. But yeah, that's going to kill Joe. That might be the difference maker, is his inability to have a trade route. Like, this trade route is not good. And these Myrmidons will kill his trade again. And Joe's chariot's in a little bit of a... You don't want him to go melee against Myrmidons, because Myrmidons get crazy attack bonus. But all player needs to do is just kind of solidify his eco, and he will be golden. Yeah, these Myrms here are going to do a lot of damage to the chariots, but they died. But Joe needs to be careful. Can't. Ooh, and we've got some nicely predicted guard towers there. Joe just can't trade at all. Even this one is just getting decimated by the what are these biremes? Juggernauts, not biremes at all. And all this push, even though Joe has the advantage for the fight, he has no siege. So the fact that he is winning kind of the fight here is kind of pointless, because well, what are the Axemen gonna do? Nothing. So Joe kind of just skittering here and not doing much. He's got the worst trade route you could almost imagine. He's probably almost out of gold. Yeah, he's out of gold. He's finding himself at 144 pop. You could. I've heard people have done that before. And player still kind of low on gold as well, which was kind of courtesy of his very poor trade route at the beginning of the game. But Joe does not have a mummy for this Colossus. Look at these villagers marching in square formation. Yeah, it would actually be a better trade route to go from here to here. But that kind of goes against conventional playing. But yeah, now that player has fixed his trade route, and they are trading a long way, he is getting 129 gold a trip compared to Joe's 14. Oh. And that just might be the decider there. This one Colossus will kind of mow everything down. Joe's got a bunch of vills that really can't really do much with. And Joe just can't trade. Just getting pushed off of this corner here was big. So yeah, this little connection actually did play a huge role in this game. Player's still not a huge army, but Joe will find himself out of gold with the inability to replenish units pretty soon. he might be able to get this town center down. Oh, Bellerophon might save the day. He will jump and kill a bunch of catapults. Yeah, if Joe doesn't kill this town center, this is probably GG here. Yeah, Bellerophon and the Colossus come roaming in. That's 200 gold a pop, 400 resources total, a catapult, and Joe's army is disappearing. His catapults are dead. His trade route is bringing in 14 gold a trip, and I think that might be all she wrote. Pretty close, and this is the last game. Player wins this, he is the champion. And Joe finally coming down here, I think, to build a market, but it's just too late. Joe had 113 pop with 10 gold. Player full pop, doing decent in resources. He's got this juggernaut down here to kill whatever market might be built. But yeah, this not having control of this here is just huge. Oh, he did rebuild his market though. So they will bring in, waiting for a full travel on 33 gold now. So actually holding on longer than I thought right here. Chariots just cost so little gold. But not for long, I don't think. What a nice game. This was very close. Player still doesn't have a very big army though, or even upgraded siege. Like, it's amazing that Joe is able to withstand this. I think the problem is, yeah, maybe Joe will come back. Maybe he will do a miracle. I guess I didn't think he would hold this, but he did. But player just not a huge army. I think a lot of his problem is that his army is coming from back here, and oh, Joe resigns. So Joe kind of anticlimactically called it a match, but oh, well, this is why he's gonna have his market done again. So that is GG, and that was the game. So player ends up winning the series 4-2. So player is our spring champion. So Joe won the winter tournament, but could not quite win the spring one. So player's our champion. Well played by player, but what a nice game to end on. This was a nice game. Joe had the early advantage. Player turned it around with a huge underworld. And then the taking control of this corner was also gigantic. If Joe has his full trade, he'd probably be, I don't know. If Joe has the full trade route, I would think he would win this. But just corners are important. Cutting down on the lengths of trade routes. Yeah, the round robin 1 point is a little bit odd. But you gotta, I mean, especially because the round robin was so like even. But it is what it is. But so that is the series, and Joe lost. Player won, and player is our 1v1 champion. What a nice game though. Really nice tournament. You had a lot of nice games, a lot of nice series. I didn't win, so I guess it did kind of suck in that regard. But oh well. So look at all resources total, pretty close for most of the game actually. I'm kind of surprised. Player must have, yeah, player's bad trade route was kind of hurting him. But I think the total difference will be, yeah, once we see this gold kind of flatline here is when Joe started having problems. But really did fight back really well. I didn't think he would ever clean up the underworld, but he did a really good job of that and ended up being a pretty close game. Joe's lack of early eco upgrades also hurt him. He ended up with all of them, but that was kind of hurting his eco. Player still only has just hand axe. That's funny, but that is it. So good games. So thanks, guys, for watching. I'll call it a night, I think, based on this. So that is the final. So player is our victor. Do we know when is the next tournament? There hasn't been anything mentioned about any new 1v1 tournament yet. We do have RTS League going on, which is a team tournament. So I will be streaming most or all of those. Hannibal Barca has been subscribed for 7 months in a row. I feel like that message came up last time. I don't know, Blossom, how late you're staying up. I might move on to a different game system for a little bit, but I think I'm done for AOM for tonight. RTS League, yes. So RTS League is a team tournament that lasts usually about 2 or 3 months. Does he do that every stream? I wonder if I don't know. I don't think he does it every stream, but so I'll be doing the RTS League matches now. One thing though, guys, I will be leaving on vacation. Kind of pseudo vacation, I guess you could call it, this Friday, and I'll be gone for probably about a full week and about 10 days, I think. So from about Friday the 21st to about July 1st, you won't be seeing me. I might do a stream not Wednesday, Thursday night maybe, but I will be doing RTS League games, and I think there's a few that were played today that I'll still stream. So those will be coming up, but I'll be leaving on a vacation. Well, I'll be gone, though, is the problem. I'm going to Pennsylvania to visit the family, my wife's family. So it's not like a fun, really, vacation. We're just going to see her family, and her family, don't tell her, but her family's kind of boring. But that is what it is. Anyway, they like to see the kids, not me. I mean, I could probably stay here, and they wouldn't even really care. Like, where's Josh? Well, he stayed at home. Oh, that's fine. We just want to see the grandkids anyway. Then I don't have to travel all the way, 12-hour ride to Pennsylvania. Oh, my goodness. But anyway, that is it for tonight. So thanks for watching, guys. And I will maybe catch you guys Wednesday night for a little bit of some RTS League games to cast. But otherwise, that is the end of the 1v1 tournament. And I have streamed a lot of these games. So I don't have a choice, unfortunately. I am not in charge of my body or my life. My wife is. Where she says I go, I go. But that is it. Good morning. You say good morning just as I'm turning the stream off, my man. Sorry. But thanks for checking in anyway. So this is the end of the stream for tonight. Do remember, I do have a YouTube channel where all of the old videos are saved. So if you want to watch old videos, I have a ton. Most of them are just me playing and generally maybe losing. But there's some recorded game streams. I did last RTS League or a lot of those. So check out the YouTube channel. And I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great Monday and a great week. And that is all. See you guys. You're the best.